All right, so get this. We're going deep on this thing called the Smart Energy Optimization Switch. SEOS for short.
Catchy.
Right. You sent this document. It's from N5 Digital, Inc. Written by, let me see, Dr. Lev Namotin.
Oh, wow. Straight from the source.
Yeah, and it's not just like, some sales pitch. It's like the whole breakdown of how it works, all the features, everything.
Very cool.
Yeah, so basically they're saying this thing could totally change how we, use energy at home.
It's a pretty bold claim.
Well, let's see, right? So first thing that caught my eye, the SEOS thing has an LED light.
Okay.
And get this, it changes color based on how much electricity costs at that very moment.
Real-time pricing signals. Interesting.
Yeah. Like imagine green light means go ahead, run the dishwasher. It's cheap right now.
I like that. It makes the whole energy market thing way more tangible.
Right. Instead of just like numbers on a bill you barely understand.
Exactly. Suddenly you've got this visual cue right there in your kitchen telling you the best time to do things.
Totally.
Okay.
But then it gets even, cooler. It says it uses AI.
AI.
Yeah. So it learns your energy habits and stuff. And then it tells you the best times to run your appliances.
Wow. So it's not just reacting to energy prices. It's actually learning your patterns.
That's what it says. Is that even possible, though? I mean, how smart can a little switch be?
Well, that's where the document gets really interesting. It talks about these algorithms, right? They analyze when you usually do laundry, run the dishwasher, things like that.
Ooh, okay.
But it doesn't stop there. Then it takes that info, compares it to the energy prices, and even factors in things like weather forecasts to see when renewable energy sources might be more available.
So predicting the best time to use power based on everything.
Pretty much. It's kind of like having a personal energy advisor.
But way cheaper than hiring an actual person.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on though. If it's watching my every move and stuff, what about my privacy? What data is this thing actually collecting?
Yeah, good question. The document, to be honest, it's a little vague on the specifics of data privacy. It does say something about strong encryption and anonymization protocols, but I think we need more details to really know what's going on there.
Right. Because on the one hand, this level of personalization, it's kind of amazing.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. The document gives this example, someone who loves to bake, right?
Yeah.
And the SEOs figures out that they usually bake on the weekends.
Makes sense.
So then it suggests, preheating the oven during those off-peak hours saves them money without messing up their routine.
Clever. So it's not just suggesting times. You can actually, control things. Turn stuff on and off.
Yeah. You can set schedules for your devices so they automatically turn on or off based on your preferences and what the AI recommends.
Now that is convenient. But I gotta say, part of me is isn't this getting a little too reliant on tech? What if the system crashes or gets hacked?
You're not wrong to be cautious. The document does talk about cybersecurity features, but let's be real. Any device connected to the internet, it has vulnerabilities.
True. So, okay, we've got convenience, potential savings, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Tech so.
But there's another thing the document keeps bringing up. Sustainability. How does this little switch help us be more eco-friendly?
So it's all about using energy when renewable sources are at their peak. Imagine your washing machine starting up when the sun is blazing and solar power is abundant. Or your electric car charging overnight when wind power is cranking.
So it's not just using less energy, it's using the right kind of energy.
Exactly. The SEOS tries to match your energy use to those clean sources as much as possible.
And that makes you feel good about your energy use, right? Like you're actually part of something bigger.
Exactly. It gives individuals a way to contribute to the clean energy transition in a very real way.
Okay, this is starting to sound pretty good, but before we get too excited, let me ask you this. Is this whole SEOS thing just hype? Or is there something real here?
Well, based on the document, the technology seems to be there. The idea is innovative, definitely. And the potential benefits, they're pretty substantial.
Right.
The big question is implementation. How will it actually work in real homes, with real people? What are the challenges we haven't even thought of yet?
Good point. It's easy to have a great idea on paper, but making it work in the real world, that's the tricky part.
Right, and that's what makes this whole deep dive so interesting. We're not just talking about a new gadget. We're talking about a potential shift in how we think about and use energy in our daily lives.
Okay, so we've got the basics, how it works, the potential upsides, but there's still a lot more to unpack here. Let's move on to the next layer of this deep dive, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's do it. You know, one thing that really jumped out at me from the document was how this SEOS thing, it doesn't just stop at individual devices.
It doesn't.
No, it wants to be like the central control for all your energy stuff.
Like my whole house. That's a pretty big goal.
Yeah, but the tech, it seems like it's actually there. The SEOs can talk to other SEOS devices like a network, and then it optimizes everything.
So it's not just telling me when to run the dishwasher. It's like coordinating all my appliances.
Exactly. Making them work together efficiently.
Okay, so how much are we talking here? Like real world savings. What could this actually do for me?
Well, they ran some projections, and it's actually pretty impressive. The average household, they're saying, could cut their energy bills by 15, maybe even 20%.
Wow.
Just by using those basic features. And then if you get into the smart scheduling and using more renewable energy, the savings could be even bigger.
Okay, that's not nothing. But the document also talks about this idea of giving users more control, like actually understanding their energy use. How's it do that?
Right. Remember that central control hub we were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, it comes with this dashboard. You can see it on your phone or computer, and it shows you everything.
Everything.
Pretty much. You see how much energy each device is using, what your overall usage looks like, even compare it to like last month or last year.
So I can actually see where all the energy is going, not just get a bill at the end of the month and wonder what happened.
Exactly. No more mystery bills. And it even gives you personalized tips, on how to use less energy based on like what you actually do in your house.
So it was like having a little energy coach in my pocket.
Yeah.
Minus the yelling.
Yeah, exactly. Much more chill. But, we've talked a lot about how this helps individuals, but the document also hints at something bigger, like the SEOs could actually impact the entire energy grid.
Really?
Yeah, imagine millions of these things out there all talking to each other and to the energy companies. All that data, it could give them a totally different view of how we use energy.
So instead of just reacting to demand, they could anticipate it.
Exactly. They could make the whole system more efficient. And maybe even get rid of those peaker plants. The ones that only run when demand is super high, and they tend to be, well, not very clean.
Right. So it's a win for the environment, too. But hold on a sec. All this data flying around, what about security? Who's making sure all that info is safe?
You're right to ask that. That's a big concern. The document does talk about encryption and stuff, but it has to be done right. It has to be transparent.
It's kind of a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
We want the benefits of all this connectivity, but we don't want to sacrifice our privacy.
Absolutely. It's a challenge, for sure. Okay, so we've looked at how this could help individuals and even the energy grid, but there's one more thing the document really pushes. The idea that the SEOs could help us switch to renewable energy faster.
Okay, so how does it do that? It's not like this little switch is going to magically create more solar panels.
Right. But remember how it can schedule things to run when renewable energy is plentiful? Now imagine that happening in millions of homes.
Okay. So instead of that energy going to waste, we're actually using it.
Exactly. It becomes a much smoother, more efficient system.
That sounds pretty good, but realistically, could we actually get to a point where everyone has one of these things?
That's the million-dollar question. The document says it's designed to be affordable and easy to install.
Right.
But, new technology, there are always hurdles.
Always. I guess time will tell if this really lives up to all the hype.
It will. But even if it doesn't solve all our energy problems, it's starting some important conversations.
I agree. It's kind of mind-blowing how something as simple as a light switch can make us rethink the whole energy system.
It really is. It's like a glimpse into the future, where technology helps us create a more sustainable world.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. The good stuff, the potential downsides, even the big picture impact. But there's one more area I want to touch on. Those, unintended consequences. The things we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah. It's always good to look at the whole picture, even when something seems promising.
So we've talked about saving money, being eco-friendly, all that. But are there any downsides, like things that could go wrong with this SEOS thing?
Well, yeah, one thing that worries me is e-waste. If everyone starts using these things, what happens when they break or get old?
That's a good point. We don't want to solve one problem and create another.
Exactly. And then there's the question of, accessibility. Can everyone afford this tech? Or will it be something only, wealthy people have?
Right. Because it's great if it saves you money, but not if you can't afford it in the first place.
Exactly. The document talks about affordability, but it's something we got to keep an eye on. And then there's the whole digital literacy thing, too.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right. Not everyone's comfortable with AI and all that. Will people even know how to use this thing?
If they don't understand it, they're not going to trust it.
Exactly. So education is key here. and making the design really user-friendly.
It sounds like for this SEOS thing to really work, we need more than just the technology.
Oh yeah, it's a whole ecosystem. We need to think about manufacturing, recycling, digital inclusion, the whole 9 yards.
This has been eye-opening, I gotta say. This little light switch, it's made us think about some really big questions.
It has. It's amazing how something so simple can lead to such complex discussions about the future of energy and technology and, what kind of world we want to live in.
And that brings us to our final question, and maybe the most important one. What happens if this tech really takes off? Like, what if it changes the whole relationship between people and the energy companies?
Now you're thinking big picture. What if consumers aren't just passive users anymore, but active participants?
Wait, hold on. You're saying people could become their own little power plants?
Well, the document mentions that. Imagine homes with solar panels using the SEOS to manage their own energy and maybe even selling some back to the grid.
Wow. That's a pretty different world.
It is. And it might sound futuristic, but the pieces are all there. It's really up to us to decide what happens next.
So there you have it. Our deep dive into the smart energy optimization switch.
We've seen the potential, the challenges, the whole shebang.
And we leave you with this. If this technology takes over, are you ready for the changes it will bring?